Safe in Merrick's arms. Chapter 1. A Whistle of Destiny. The sun was blazing at the Alia Atkinson Aquatic Center, creating a shimmer above the retractable roof that was covering the bleachers and now the entire pool area. Underneath the roof, the national trials were underway, and the fans of the sport of swimming had created a festive atmosphere. Hundreds of speed swimming enthusiasts of all ages made noise as they cheered the performances or spotted retired athletes who had given their best for their country. A DJ managed the vibes with the kind of music and silence where appropriate. The announcer for the day turned on his microphone and announced the names of the racers for the women's 100-meter freestyle finals. Summa emerged first from the waiting area to take her place on the starting block for lane 2. Unlike the other swimmers, she was wearing her off-black swimsuit covered her neck to her wrists and down to her ankles. There were 8 swimmers in the event, and 3 would earn their places on the national senior team for the World Games. At age 25, Summa was the oldest. After representing her country on the junior teams throughout her high school years, Summa had yet to earn a place on the senior team. She did not have a good showing the last 2 national trials, and she had blamed that on being a student first and an athlete second. She loved swimming, but as she was not a professional, she did not live in competition mode as some of the other competitors did. She had been in intense training for the past 4 months, and while there were swimmers whom she had never beaten a meet out of competition, her times were looking good against theirs. I have a chance, she had told her parents and her doctor when they murmured caution at the extreme physical pressure that she was putting on her body. They could not go higher than a murmur because she would rebel further. Right after school, she moved into the apartment that her parents had gifted her for her 18th birthday. It was to be an investment, but she used it as a shelter from their caring, but what she felt was overprotective control. As she climbed on the block, Summer closed her mind to look only on the glints of light on the surface of the water. If she wanted to qualify, she had to focus on her race. But she found herself shifting the goggles over her eye sockets, adjusting her swimming cap, and shaking her arms to keep her muscles loose, signs that she was not completely relaxed and in the zone to do her best at this, her pet event. On the referee's whistle, Summer launched herself off the block, and for the first 30 meters, she was in the lead. Her start was her strongest point, but there were other swimmers whose stamina was superior to hers, and for her to beat them, she had to swim a perfect race. But she was not. She lost her lead and continued to lose ground and ended the race in 4th place. And just like that, her dreams of swimming in the World Games and Olympics evaporated like the puddles of water on the pool deck that vanished in the heat of the day. The competition area was no place to be immersed in regret and misery. Summer returned to the change area to dry off, stripped off her swimwear, and replaced it with navy nylon tracksuit pants with matching long-sleeve wet shirt and a sun hat with sunglasses. The aquatic environment was uber casual, and that was a part of the reason why she loved the atmosphere of her sport. As she took the long walk to her family who were in the stands, along the way she encountered former teammates, former coaches, and other people in the sport. Despite her disappointment, the sport culture demanded a cordial greeting for each person, while they would not expect her to smile warmly and chat at that point. At last, she sat beside her mother, who rubbed her arm as a form of comfort. She asked how Summer was. She told her fine, and took the bottle of water that was offered to her and gratefully put it in her face. She was crushed. This was the last opportunity that she had to compete for her country, and it was not going to happen. She had pushed her body enough. Her daughters had warned, and they had agreed that if she got in, she could continue to swim competitively. If not, then she had agreed to retire from being an athlete. The swimming community was tight-knit. The adult swimmers had been competing against each other for years, and their parents and coaches knew each other. The younger swimmers were corralled in zones that were marshaled by family members. After a while, her parents and other family members quietly left, but Summa stayed, as it would not be sportsmanlike to leave and not support the swimmers in her camp. So she knew that she had to stay until all the races were done. Summa could not shake off the feeling that she was being surveilled, and even as she looked around the stadium from where the watch would be, she told herself that she was being paranoid. Nobody was looking at her in particular. I'll go for a hot dog, she told herself, and set off to outside the stadium, passing the food court to go outside to buy from Linky, the long-standing food vendor. Linky started selling food to the swimming community when they were still at Independence Park. And when the new facility opened, he did not qualify to be a vendor inside, but a space was reserved for him in the parking lot. Rain or shine, once the center was open, his cart was ready to serve a reliable menu. Porridge and fritters for the early morning trainers, soup and hot dogs for the rest of the day. Over the years, the coaches had tried to coax him to sell fruits and sandwiches and wraps, but he never paid them any mind. Lincoln knew Summer's preference: seared beef sausage on well-toasted bread, ketchup only. When he handed it to her, she realized that she had forgotten her phone in the stands. As she started to apologize, a voice from a body that she had not noticed said, "It's cool." The voice was itself like a breath of wind, quiet and deep. And then a hand with a phone deftly hovered over the payment scanner, and her item was paid for. Summer was more than a bit startled, and she whipped around to face the person. It was a man in a pale gray sweatsuit and jacket, and he was wearing a baseball cap with a curved peak that effectively shadowed his face, and also wrap-around dark sunglasses that shielded his eyes. She could not tell his age. From the look of his veined hands beyond the sleeves, he was accustomed to being in the sun, and he was thin and wiry. "Do I know you?" Summer asked, as he put away his phone in his pocket. He shook his head. "I'll pay you if you give me your details," she started, but he raised his hands to clearly dismiss any obligation that she may have thought that she had. Someone looked at him more closely. There was something familiar about him. Her heart pounded as she wondered if she was in danger. She looked around, but nothing was suspicious or out of place. Summer had good reason to be frightened, as a few months before, by chance, she had unwittingly witnessed a crime. And up to this time, there were no other witnesses, and the fate of powerful persons would hang on the balance of what she would say in court. The court date would be in another 2 weeks, and it could not come fast enough for her. "Well, thank you." She was obviously angling for his name, but he was trying to ignore her. "What is your name?" she asked directly. "I'm running the DJ booth today," he said. "DJ Merrick." Summer thought, great, another moniker. But she said, "Thanks, DJ Merrick. I like to know who I'm grateful to. So who is playing if you are here?" "My crew." "So they play and you do what?" Summer was a bit cranky, she realized. Or why else would she be picking a fight with a total stranger who had just helped her? She backed off. "Ignore that, DJ Merrick. Thanks again. Great music." She walked away with her hot dog, still feeling a bit unsettled, because she was sure that she was being watched by DJ Merrick.